Good afternoon, everyone. Today I will be discussing one of the most abundant diseases in the world, malaria. The history of malaria is very ancient. Malaria's existence has been noted for the past 4,000 years. The malaria symptoms were described in various Chinese medical accounts. In 2700 BC, characteristics of malaria symptoms has been described in the Ni Sheng Encyclopedia, which was later edited by Huang Ti. Later on, malaria was recognized in Greece in the 4th century, leading to a massive decline of the Greek population. Malaria's cause was unknown in that time. Some thought it was due to bites of many bugs, and other Roman accounts actually attributed the disease to the existence of swamps. Charles Louis Alphonse Laveran, a French army surgeon stationed in Algeria, was the first to notice the parasites in the blood of a patient suffering from malaria. Later on in the 18th century, a very famous Italian neurophysiologist named Camillo Golgi differentiated between the two different forms of diseases. He also noticed that fever was associated with the rupture of the merozoites into the blood. Him and Charles were both awarded the Nobel Prize for their great contributions to the medical world. Furthermore, there has been many other contributions which had led to our current understanding of malaria. The Italian investigators Giovanni Battista Grassi and Raimondo Filetti introduced the name for the malaria parasites that affected the human. Another British officer in the Indian Medical Service demonstrated how malaria can be transferred from an infected human to another. Malaria is one of the most abundant diseases in the world. It's literally worldwide. As we can see from our map, the really heavy infested areas are all located near the latitudinal equatorial line at 0 degrees. The regions highlighted with dark red are regions with high death rate from malaria, reaching from 2 to 10 million casualties on a yearly basis. Malaria is a mosquito-borne disease which is caused by a parasite of the genus Plasmodium. This parasite is a type of a unicellular microorganism that infects the female Anopheles mosquito, which infects the saliva of the mosquito. The parasite is usually transferred to a human host through a bite from a female mosquito during a blood meal. Symptoms of malaria usually include headache, vomiting, and high fevers. These symptoms appear 10 to 15 days after a mosquito bite. Unfortunately for some patients, these symptoms are commonly mistaken for a common cold, by such hindering the healing process of a patient from malaria. I guess the medical importance for malaria would be that it infects humans, mammals, with a species of Plasmodium that tend to host on their body like a parasite. The malaria life cycle is divided into 3 major stages. The first stage is the mosquito's infection itself. The second stage and the third stage happen in the human body. The first stage. The gametocytes of male and female are ingested by the Anopheles mosquito during a blood meal. The parasite's multiplication in the mosquito is known as the sporogenic cycle. While in the mosquito's stomach, the microgametes penetrate the macrogametes, generating zygotes. The zygotes in turn become motile and elongated, in a process which we call okinets. After that, the okinets invade the midgut wall of the mosquito, where they develop into oocytes. The oocytes grow, rupture, and release sporozoites. These sporozoites make their way to the mosquito's salivary glands, by such infecting the glands with the parasite. The second and third stage in the human body are very similar to the first one. When the Anopheles mosquito takes another blood meal, the parasite is transferred to the human host through the mosquito's saliva. Once the host is infected, the parasite multiplies in the liver cells. The parasite starts off as a sporozoite and then matures into a schizont, which ruptures and releases merozoites. The parasite keeps on growing and multiplying in the liver cells, leading to its destruction. Moreover, this process is similar in the third stage. Once the liver cells are destroyed, the parasite transfers to the red blood cells, where the same process of multiplication and growth occurs. Interesting, the rupturing of the cells with the merozoites is associated with the symptoms of fever in the human host. Moreover, these stages do not occur always in the same sequence. Sometimes the red blood cells are infected earlier in the life cycle, prior to the infection of the liver cells. The treatment of malaria depends on several factors, such as the severity of the infection, the species of the parasite causing the disease, and the part of the world where the infection occurred. Malaria is usually treated by anti-malaria drugs. Various safety precautions can be done by people to prevent their infection with malaria. First, they could reduce the rate of going out a lot in the dark. They could also wear long-sleeved t-shirts to prevent the bites of mosquitoes. They can install their beds with netted hoods to prevent the entrance of mosquitoes to their bed frames while they're sleeping. Various organizations have taken ownership towards the endemic disease malaria. The World Health Organization is one of these groups. The World Health Organization have developed a global malaria program which is responsible for the coordination of the World Health Organization's global efforts to control and eliminate malaria. The program sets evidence-based norms, standards, policies, and guidelines to support malaria-affected regions and countries around the world. The program also keeps independent score of global progress in the fight against malaria. Its flagship annual publication, the World Malaria Report, contains the latest available data on the impact of malaria interventions around the world. In conclusion, malaria is a very dangerous disease that leads to large amounts of casualties on a yearly basis. In my humble opinion, I do think that more concentration and emphasis should be placed on awareness rather than the cure and methods of curing the disease itself, by such reducing the population's risk from getting malaria. Thank you everybody for watching, and here are my sources.